Here we're going to look at a few different ways that we can estimate values. For example, if we have 32 plus 78 plus 112 plus 98. And in medicine, it's often important to get a rough idea of what the numbers are. And the way I think most people would choose to estimate this would be to round everything and say 32 is close to 30, 78 is close to 80, 112 is close to 110, 98 is close to 100, and then adding all those together, we get 320. So that would be rounding each individual number to the nearest 10, and then adding those together. But there's a couple other ways we could do this. For example, if I have 37 times 52, how could we estimate this? One way to do this is to, again, round both of those and say 37 is basically 40, rounds that to 40. 52 is close to 50, and 40 times 50 is, of course, 200. Another thing that is done is we round both. We round 37 down to 30, we round 52 down to 50, and we say 30 times 50 is 1,500. We round 37 up to 40, we round 52 up to 60, and that gives us 240. And what this is this is an interval. So we can say we don't know what the number is, but when we rounded both of them down, rounded both of them up and multiplied, we get an interval. So we know that the product is between 150 and 240. And the 200, our original guess, was indeed between 150 and 240. So that's certainly another way for us to go ahead and do rounding. So let's take a look at another problem here. Let's take a look at 28 plus 49 plus 62. And let's do this three different ways. First, let's go ahead and get our interval approximation. So we're going to round everything down. 28 becomes 20, 49 becomes 40, 62 becomes 60, and that gives us a low number of 120. 28 goes up to 30, 49 goes up to 50, 62 goes up to 70, and that gives us 150. So we could say the interval is between 120 and 150. So the sum is between 120 and 150. So it would be our interval approach. Our second approach would be to go ahead and round each one to the nearest 10. So 28 gets rounded to 30, 49 gets rounded to 50, 62 gets rounded to 60. So what is that going to give us? That's going to give us 140. So by rounding each one to the nearest 10, we get our approximate value of 140. And as it turns out, this is the same thing we would get if we used the compatible number strategy, in which case we just look for things that are easy for us to work with, and 30, 50, and 60 are all easy. So if you want to round them to something easy, that seems pretty reasonable for us there. Let's take a look at a multiplication question. If we have 26 times 71, looking at the interval approach, taking 26, rounding that down to 20, 71 down to 70, that's going to give us 1,400. 26 up to 30, 71 up to 80. 30 times 80 is 2,400. That's an awfully big interval, but we know that the product is between 1,400 and 2,400. Now if we just want to go ahead and round each one, 26 would round to 30 because 6 is more than 5. 71 would round down to 70. And again, those are rounded to the nearest 10, and they also happen to be the easiest numbers that we can get that are in the range. So putting these together, so it'll give us our approximation of 2,100. And you'll notice I use that little symbol, the kind of wavy equal sign, for a situation where the product is approximately equal to something. The sum is approximately equal to something. Wavy equal sign means approximately equal. Now, this notion of compatible numbers is really best described when we have numerals with many decimal places, many numbers. So I'm going to look at 76.813 plus 924 plus 12.21. You're thinking, okay, what's going to make this relatively easy for us to do? I guess you could argue 76 is sort of close to 80, 924 is sort of in the 90 range, 12 is sort of close to 10. That's going to give me 180. So the thing equals 180, and that's my best guess. Now, the issue is, if you're going to go ahead and deal with compatible numbers, there's not going to be a single answer. It really depends on what you think are reasonable numbers for us to work with. If I have 725 times 612, I would argue, well, what's reasonable here? To do mentally, 700 times 600 is going to give us 42, followed by 4 zeros. 420,000. When you're on the floor, it's important for you to be able to go ahead and make fairly quick computations to get an idea where things are headed.